You ever sit back and just ponder on the deep aspects of life? I know I sat back and was thinking recently about on Family Feud, when the question is, give me a name that starts with H. And a family member will say, Jose. And then the rest of the family starts clapping. I mean, I can understand the family on the other side clapping because they know it's stupid. It's an absurd answer. It's going to be a big red X to come across and they're going to get the points. But yet, the other side, they're clapping like it's going to be up there. But it's not. It's going to be another red X and you're going to lose all the points. Yeah. So those are things I think about sometimes. I don't know about you, but just passing that along.
From the highways of America, here's the podcast where we talk politics, a little entertainment, some culture, and this and that, from the road to your ears. This is Trend Chat with your host, Brian Bledsoe.
And welcome to another episode of Trend Chat. I am your host, Brian Bledsoe, and if you want to connect with us, put them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, TikTok. It's all the same name at Trend Chat 24/7. And so, as I mentioned about in the intro, on the highways of America, we are in Virginia today. And as of this recording, we are recording inside of a shop while I get my tire fixed because I had a flat tire. And I decided since I'm sitting in here, I may well do the podcast because for one, I'm a little bit late. It was supposed to be on Thursday, December 12th, and here it is, December 13th, as I'm recording this. So definitely want to get to that. I also just want to mention that there may be, because I'm in a shop, you're going to hear shop noises, except for when we're doing the interview. But that being said, hey, we're just keeping it real. That's if you hear it. I don't know. I mean, there's a truck on beside me right now. But like I said, there's trucks going in and out. And so at this time, I do want to mention one of our podcast partners being ODG Apparel. Now, I want to mention them because the last time I did, there was a new code for a discount. So the new code is TC10, T as in trend and C as in chat. So TC10, and you go to odgapparel.com. You get all sorts of just stylish Christian apparel, whether it's shirts, hoodies, especially right now, and long sleeve shirts, and anything you can find. Just go to odgapparel.com and put in the code TC10 and you get 10% off on anything on the site. So I just want to mention them first off. And I know we said, I don't know, was it a couple episodes ago, was about everything going on with impeachment, that we're not going to really talk about it because I feel like, for one, it's a foregone conclusion. It's been something the Democrats have been looking to do ever since he got in office. Ever since the president, got in office, they've been talking about impeachment. And I know a lot of people are mentioning where, the evidence that they're bringing up in these committees, that it doesn't make sense and that it doesn't, this doesn't hold water. Like they care, really. It could, as I mentioned before, it could be a blank sheet of paper. It doesn't matter. Their intent is on impeaching the president by any means necessary at this point. So the Judiciary Committee just passed out of their committee to 2 articles of impeachment. So next week will be the historic vote for impeachment. So, and as I mentioned before, I'm pretty sure it's going to go straight down the party line. All Democrats going to vote for it, which they have the majority, and they're all going to vote for impeachment, and all the Republicans are going to vote against. But in the end, they'll still have the votes to pass. The only part that may change, that where impeachment may not happen, is for the Democrats who are in districts that Trump won in 2016. Maybe those representatives may change their mind. You may have 1 or 2. I don't think you have enough to swing it. So I can imagine some of those that may be in a very, very tight race may get the okay from Nancy Pelosi to vote against impeachment because they need to win their race. But if it comes down to where they need enough to pass, they're going to have enough. And then it's going to go to the Senate, and then he'll be acquitted, basically. And so that's why we're not really talking about it so much on here, because, yeah, I don't see where it's not going to happen. And anyway, I'm guessing, next week we'll just mention about the when the vote comes down. I think it's going, I don't know when it's going to be, but it'll be next week. But maybe it'll be before we'll be on next week or not. I don't know. We may just wait until the vote and then come on next week. But anyway, I don't see putting that much time into it right now. Because like I said, this has been the plan from the start. So the one thing I'm just wondering is how it's going to affect Republicans in November, next year, and for 2020. And I know there's plenty of people who want to make it seem like, well, this is going to hurt Democrats or it's going to help Republicans or whatnot. I'm not as sure about either, honestly, because there are, there's just a number of factors that go into all of this as this goes down. So we'll get to that in 2020. We're still in 2019. And speaking of 2019, we have Dr. David Black, the founder and CEO of Second Vote, with us to talk about the 2019 Christmas shopping guide. And as well, we're going to talk about Chick-Fil-A, because if you don't know about Second Vote, they score corporations based on where they contribute their money to whatever causes, whether they're conservative or liberal organizations, and they calculate their scores from that. And so with the recent news of Chick-fil-A, we're going to talk about that and whether their score change and if it did, why, and we'll get into that. Also, just go to their website, as we'll mention a couple of times in the interview, but I mentioned it now, just secondvote.com. The number 2 in the browser, you put secondvote.com. And so we'll have Dr. David Black with us to talk about that. And matter of fact, after a couple words from Politichicks, we will get to that interview. Matter of fact, because no point of going on too long, because like I said, I wasn't going to talk too much about the impeachment. And also we have some exciting news that happened last week for me personally, I guess. I'll talk about that. And so, again, let's hear a word from our friends from Politichicks, and after that, we will have our interview with Dr. David Black.
Hey everybody, it is Chad Prather, host of the Chad Prather Show. You are listening to Trend Chat with my man, Brian Bledsoe. Come on with it.
Hello, this is Brian Bledsoe, host of Trend Chat. Also, contributor at politichicks.com. Here to tell you about the new book called Politichicks, A Clarion Call to Political Activism, with over 300 pages from contributors like myself, talking about topics such as education, social issues, healthcare, the Second Amendment, and of course, activism. I encourage you all to check it out at politichicks.com, and is also available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
This is Trend Chat with your host, Brian Bledsoe.
Hello, this is Trend Chat. And we are very pleased to have someone that we've had others from his organization on this podcast to talk about various issues, but we're very pleased to have the founder and CEO of Second Vote, Dr. David Black, with us. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you.
So, for those who may not know, like I said, we've had others on from Second Vote, but I want to ask you in particular, like, what inspired you to start Second Vote?
Well, it kind of happened by accident. My wife and I went grocery shopping after church one Sunday, and at the cash register, I was asked to give a donation to the March of Dimes, which I did. And after we got outside, my wife, Diane asked me, why did I do that? And I asked her, why shouldn't I have done that? And she said, well, March of Dimes works with Planned Parenthood. And I said, well, I didn't know that. And I didn't. It caused me to wonder after I thought about it, what else do I not know that may be going on with regard to where my money is really going if I donate it or even if I spend it. So that was back in late 2011. And then in February of 2012, after I thought about this for a couple of months, I pulled together about 7 young techie Christian men, and we began looking at what's really going on in our society with regard to where our money goes when we donate it or we spend it. And we've since then researched about 900 organizations, both principally for-profit, but also non-profit. And we researched them on their corporate social activism, and I have to tell you, this has been a very interesting 7-year journey discovering what's really going on in our society with regard to where our money goes if we're a conservative or a Christian or somebody who's a constitutionalist. Most folks don't know where their money's going after they spend it or donate it, and it's very troubling when you find out.
Like, for me personally, I've been using Second Vote a lot, especially when just whether it's for just shopping or anything, or even going out to eat. Sometimes I just want to see where these companies are, contributing their money to. And I guess another thing I want to ask, so what kind of goes into the score towards these companies? What type of criteria that you use?
Sure. Well, yeah, thank you. Yeah, we do have a scoring. Well, first of all, the information is available on the web or on a mobile version of the website under secondvote.com, and the second is just the number 2 with an ND after it, but Second Vote. And the scoring system is, we try to keep it simple. It's a scoring system of 1 to 5, and we score 7 issues, and I'll come back to that in a moment. But the scoring system is a 1 is on the liberal side. That's as liberal as a company could be, and then a 5 would be as conservative as a company could be. We also think of this as being either pro or being Judeo-Christian based or anti-Judeo-Christian on the one side. But what we do is we score companies based upon a number of information sources, but how they are donating their dollars, how they're using the dollars you spend with them, what organizations, what nonprofits do they support? Are they supporting organizations that are on the far left that are radically changing our society? So we study 7 issues. That's life, religious liberty, Second Amendment, marriage, immigration, education, and environmental alarmism. And all of these are issues that are linked back to statements made by the founding fathers as being important issues regarding this country, or principal figures throughout our American history that have addressed those issues. And then also they're scripturally based as well. So they're Judeo-Christian values that are under attack from the radical left. And so we chose those very specifically as issues that represent where the attack is on our Judeo-Christian culture.
Okay. And so I noticed by looking on the website where, like you mentioned, you have the life issue or Second Amendment. And also when I was looking on there, if I guess if they have no position, then you don't give them a score if they haven't made some sort of public statement for or against, correct?
Yeah, it's a public statement, or where if we can track where they've donated their dollars. It's how they directly donate their dollars or indirectly donate their dollars, and what public statements they may make, or if they have partnered with organizations and their business logo shows up on a radical nonprofit website. Also, if they if they are sponsors of fundraisers. We have a number of sources we look at to score them. It's a complicated process. We estimate it's about $1,500 to score each organization, and then of course we have to keep track of them, so there's additional expense in tracking them. But it's a pretty labor-intensive process. Currently, we're trying to use electronics as much as we can to assist that process, but you really have to dig deep. And over the years, we found interesting things, little tidbits of information. We do find that the radical left will oftentimes misrepresent who is actually supporting their position. And on a number of occasions, we've had organizations that once we identify to them that they're being referenced as a supporter, they'll notify that bad actor and say that, they need to quit referencing them. But it's a pretty strenuous process. I'm a forensic scientist by training, so what we post is what we have verified. And before we post information on the web, we do send a registered letter to the chief legal officer and the CEO of a company to show them what we've scored them on, how we've scored them. We give them a chance to correct the record before we post the information.
Okay. So one thing I definitely wanted to bring up is when I contacted Second Vote was with the recent news of Chick-Fil-A. And with everything that you mentioned as far as how you score, I know currently Chick-Fil-A is a 4. And so I wanted to ask you, will there be any changes or updates to their score given the recent news?
Yeah, so it'll be changed today, actually, and I think it'll actually end up being changed further. We do indicate a neutral score is a 3. A score of less than 3 is liberal. A score greater would be Judeo-Christian. But yes, Chick-fil-A has historically enjoyed a good score, and but as a consequence of their announcement, we've been digging and digging deeper. And although we're always digging deep, this recent action by Chick-fil-A to discontinue their donations to the Salvation Army and Fellowship of Christian Athletes has really caused us to go beyond even our normal due diligence and look deeper. So yeah, today the score will be changed from a 4 to a 2.14, which now places them on the liberal anti-Judeo-Christian side. And what we do is we have a total score, and then we score each of the issues. And 4 of their issues are being radically changed. Marriage is going down to a score of 1, which is as bad as you can get on marriage. We're taking them down to a 1 on life because actually we've discovered they are funding abortion services. And immigration as an issue, we look at the open borders issue in sanctuary cities, and we've identified that Chick-fil-A is supporting sanctuary cities. And then religious liberty. Religious liberty is under attack principally by the LGBTQ community. They are hard at work at looking to destroy the Christian faith because biblical truth, as well as biological truth, says that there are only two sexes, male and female, and that male and females are what God, not only God created, but are found in nature in all species, not just humans. And so based upon Chick-fil-A's action, which really, what's really interesting here, and I don't think anybody else is talking about it, and I think on your program this would be my first chance to comment on it, but I don't know if you'll recall in 2004, Target department stores announced that they would no longer allow Salvation Army to allow their the Red Kettles and the Salvation Army ringers in front of their stores to raise money for the Salvation Army. And at that time, the Christian community was very upset. But over time, people kind of forgot about that. And then around 2016, Target suddenly became the corporate leader on transgender bathrooms, showing that they had really bought into the LGBTQ agenda. And that created another big stir in 2016 with Target. But I think what we need to look at here is it's interesting. Chick-fil-A has now done exactly what Target did at Christmas season. Target put out a press release saying they're no longer going to work with Salvation Army, and here we have Chick-fil-A doing exactly the same thing at the time of the Christmas season, saying we're not going to work with the Salvation Army. So I think Chick-fil-A is, different than Target in that Chick-fil-A has on its own, and but very intentionally, always stated that it's a Christian organization and it manages by Christian values. And what is very, very troubling here is, so they have been, Target never did that, Target never represented that, but here Chick-fil-A has. And now we have Chick-fil-A doing a complete turn away from the Christian community, and not only doing that very intentionally, but at the time of the Christmas season, and in a way that really harms the Salvation Army, which is actually the goal of the LGBTQ community. They are looking to destroy the Salvation Army, even though the Salvation Army helps over 20 million needy Americans every year. The LGBTQ community doesn't care about that. Humane assistance. They just want to destroy the organization because they believe in Christian principles.
And with this change to their score, like all the other scores, you will have the sources for the reason for all these changes?
Yes, we will articulate that on the website. That's being posted this afternoon. I will say we believe we're still doing research. We've actually, on the education issue, we are going to still be digging deeper. We have them currently at a 5 on education because they show that they're donating to private Christian schools. But I will tell you, and you probably are aware of this, that just because the word Christian is used does not mean at all that it is Christian. And in fact, this morning, I'm here in Tennessee in the Nashville area, and this morning I was in a meeting where I learned that many of the biggest private Christian schools are bringing into their school system the LGBTQ, gender fluidity, transgender education, a lot of the learning materials that are being promoted by Planned Parenthood and by the LGBTQ community. So before we're going to look at the education issue more carefully to see what's going on with those schools funded by Chick-fil-A, and we'll see if these schools too are embracing an agenda that is really anti-Judeo-Christian.
Hello, Trend Chat listeners. If you like the Founding Project's Civics Education video series, Civics for All Ages, and our educational meme series, we think you will love our new website. Join us at thefoundingproject.com and be a part of the civics movement. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Please join us today.
with this new score for Chick-Fil-A, do you know where they rank now among other restaurants, like your McDonald's or Burger King, or would they be close to the same, or maybe still a little
Well,
better?
McDonald's is not good. McDonald's is already on the liberal side. Wendy's is good. In-N-Out Burger is great. There are a number of fast food restaurants that have stayed out of the cultural controversial issues. I honestly, we have 900 on there. I haven't memorized them all, but
Okay,
I do, I do have my regular routine where I go. I've been going to Chick-fil-A. In fact, I have to tell you, I'd have to explain this number to you, but I have personally purchased over 100,000 Chick-fil-A meals. When Chick-fil-A was under attack, the company I owned had 1,000 employees, and what we would do every Wednesday, and we did this for weeks, is we would buy breakfast, lunch, and dinner for all of our employees at Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A was under attack by the LGBTQ homosexual community. So did that for weeks, and then eventually we moved it back to once a month. But my math says I've purchased over 100,000 Chick-fil-A meals. I've been going there for years because I have admired their stance and they're standing by their principles. But now, for me personally, and I hope for those who follow us on Second Vote, that folks will really look at this and consider really shopping their values, and that includes Chick-fil-A. And are you going to continue to go there if you're going to begin to support agendas that are really against the Judeo-Christian culture of our country?
Well, the reason why I asked, I know in previous episodes where I talked about Chick-fil-A, is that one thing that I mentioned is that because of what they're doing with who they're not donating to, but still the issues that they're going to continue, being education, homelessness, and those are good. Those are good issues to advocate for. But my thing about that was that, well, all of these companies do that. And to some degree. So they're kind of going the way of being like everyone else. So that's kind of the reason why I asked the question. Well, like, have they gone down to basically being like everyone else, or at least close to that way, to where they're just they're just donating to like general issues, that, pretty much everyone wouldn't have a problem with for the most part. And they just
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying, and but I do think it's pretty serious when they begin to support abortion. The way we score at Second Vote is if you fund something that's negative, we don't give you good points for funding something that's good. You don't neutral out. What we do, you can't take back the life of a child. It's kind of like you can't be a little bit pregnant. You're either in or you're out. I mean, you're either pregnant or not. And here we've got a situation where we've discovered that Chick-fil-A is actually funding organizations that advocate and direct people to abortion. And so that's an issue. My wife and I, that's what actually began the whole Second Vote organization, was the fact of March of Dimes working on Planned Parenthood. We are adamant pro-life. We know that it's life within the womb and it's God's creation. And to take the life of that baby, and then to also scar the woman emotionally who goes through the abortion procedure, it's just not something that we can tolerate. I will say too, and you probably know this, is that I don't know, I have the exact number right off the top of my head, but black babies are aborted. It's something like 4 or 5 times the rate of white babies in America. And this is really a racist agenda. And I'm just shocked that the African American community has not reacted more strongly to the whole issue of Planned Parenthood and abortion, since it was actually founded by Margaret Sanger as a racial issue. She wanted to remove the African Americans from the American culture. So I'm befuddled as to why the NAACP and other African American organizations haven't spoken up more loudly against the Planned Parenthoods of the world.
Well, I will say that there are some that just are okay with being willfully ignorant, or totally dismissing that whatever those claims are, they would dismiss it just because out of just loyalty to the Democratic Party, especially. And so, yeah, it's a number of reasons why, unfortunately. And and also, I was thinking about what you mentioned earlier about where you said you probably purchased over 100,000 meals from Chick-Fil-A, and I was thinking one thing that I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that's going to hurt Chick-Fil-A is the catering, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Christian organizations and churches in particular that cater with Chick-Fil-A, and for the reasons
you're
that
absolutely right.
you mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I just wonder how many are going to stop.
You're absolutely right. There are a lot of biblically based businesses out there. There are many businesses that are like the company we had. We really managed the company off of biblical principles, and all of our management meetings, our board of director meetings, we always brought in Chick-fil-A. I mean, in addition to the meals we were buying for the employees, we were also catering in specifically for our gatherings within the corporation. And even at Second Vote, we were having a Chick-fil-A luncheon once a month. I've continued that practice at Second Vote, but I have to believe that those who believe their faith have a good understanding of right and wrong, and understand this issue too, that what's really going on here is not about chicken sandwiches. It's not about the Cathy family. It's not about really Chick-fil-A. It's really an attack on the Christian faith. And what Chick-fil-A has done is really harmed or tried to harm the Salvation Army purely because it is a organization founded on Christ's second great commandment of love thy neighbor. And and they also believe in marriage between a man and a woman. And it is a sincere effort to try to destroy the Salvation Army. And it's difficult for me as a Christian and as a conservative to continue to shop somewhere where I know they've now taken this action to harm an organization that we should all be trying to protect.
Yeah, and well, given that you're mentioning Lord Jesus Christ, let's kind of go to something a little more lighthearted. I hope it is at least. Have your upcoming Christmas shopping guide, and now I was a fan of the naughty or nice list that Second Vote will put out every year around this time. But I've heard that you are doing something different this year. So, and this Christmas shopping guide.
Yeah, it'll be of the same nature. Just American Family Association puts out a naughty and nice list as well, and I guess there's no necessarily trademark on that terminology, but we work with we respect AFA, and so we're going to come out with a shopping guide that will help direct people to better places to buy gifts. But I would like to mention one on your program, which is Samaritan's Purse, which is Franklin Graham. But they have a catalog they put out for the Christmas season for ideas, and some of their ideas are just fabulous. Like one of the things you can buy as a gift through Samaritan's Purse is you can buy 12 chickens, little baby chicks, for a family in a third world. And according to their numbers, if those 12 chicks grow up to lay eggs, those chickens will provide about 2,000 eggs a year to a family in a third world country where that's great protein for them. But they also have gifts for honeybees, and you may know there's a crisis in honeybees around the world. And so you can sponsor selling a honeybee hive to a third world family. And they have other very interesting gifts on their website. So we're promoting that this season as well, as we're trying to direct folks to the Samaritan's Purse and give a gift to a family in a third world nation that could be beneficial to them and to the environment. And it would just be a win-win-win. It would be so yeah, we're promoting Samaritan's Purse. We will have other, we'll have products that we'll recommend, and but we may not use the naughty and nice terminology, but it's still the same concept.
Okay. And so I guess if for people that kind of give people an idea for the guide itself and what they'll see when they go to the website.
I don't have it in front of me, unfortunately. The team passed it by me the other day. I looked at it. I said, "This is great. This is excellent."
Okay.
I'm afraid I don't remember the items that were on it beyond the Samaritan's Purse items, but there are some great items on there for men and women and children, and gives you a good idea of where you may go to purchase gifts that are not going to necessarily put money in the pockets of the big box stores that are going to be using those dollars to attack your values.
Okay. I know for me, like I mentioned earlier, I use Second Vote, whether I look at whatever retail stores and when it comes to Christmas shopping and getting gifts and whatnot to kind of know who I would rather give my money to, and I would use Second Vote for that. So I thank you for coming on, and also just thank you for Second Vote as well, because I really have been using it, and I really think it's a great service.
Well, thank you so much for being a supporter. Thank you for allowing me to be interviewed, and I hope you and your family enjoy a wonderful Merry Christmas.
Oh, and if people want to know more about Second Vote and also social media, where would they go?
Yeah, the website or the mobile version of the website is just www.secondvote.com, and the second is with the numerical 2. It's secondvote.com. And we hope that people will come and visit the site. You'll be better educated and learned if you do, and we would love for you to be a supporter as well and to help us conduct this research and continue to educate Christians and conservatives on these issues.
All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Hey, this is Antonia Okafor with Empowered, and you are listening to Trend Chat with Brian.
And thanks to Dr. David Black for joining us. And also thanks to, want to mention about Antonia Okafor, who you just heard. I wanted to play that for a couple of reasons. First off, her organization, Empowered 2A. And we're going to have Layla Perney, who is the new Texas State Chair for Empowered, on next week. And also, she is one of the recipients of the Texas Conservative Leader Award from Empower Texans. I mentioned that because last week I became a recipient for that award as well. And I remember when I was notified about it, and I still didn't want to believe it. I just couldn't believe that I was going to be given this award. And I'm one of the types where I didn't think that it was real until I actually had the award in my hand, which, if you don't know, the award, it's not a plaque, it's not a trophy, anything like that. It is a sword or a saber, and I posted about it on Facebook and all over all social media, on Trend Chat and everything. And it was a surreal night to receive the award, and also to be among a group, because it wasn't just me. It was a number of people who were receiving the award, around a little over 10 people that were receiving the same award. And some of those people were very instrumental to me even being considered to get such a honor, I guess. And it was great to be on stage with them, to to be part of that class for 2019. And definitely want to give a special thanks to Chris Dillard in particular, because he was the first one to contact me about nominating me for this award, which when he said he was going to nominate me, I was like, oh, I appreciate it. And I didn't think much else of it because I didn't know the process and what goes into being selected as a recipient. So, but that being said, next thing I know, I got notified about being a recipient, and I'm like, wow. And it's even after the fact, I'm still a bit shocked out because this is, I'm trying to think about it. Yeah, this is the only award I've received, at least when it comes to anything political. So I haven't thought much else about it. Even when he was saying about nominating me, I didn't think much else about receiving the award. I would share the link for people to be nominated, but receiving the award myself is something I never really considered. But that being said, that it happened. It's for sure now. There's pictures. I actually have it. My name is engraved on the sword. So yeah, it's real. But also want to give a special thanks to Tanya Robinson, who did an introduction, a video before I went on stage to receive the award. And I must say, like I said, this is one of this is like the first award to receive something, at least that is connected to politics in a way. And to watch the video, I was a little teary eyed. I'll admit that. It just, one, I didn't know about the video. I didn't know that she was going to do the video, and then to watch it for the first time, as I was standing there right before I was about to walk across this stage, I was already thinking to myself, one, don't fall, don't trip. That's the first thing coming across my mind. Don't fall walking across the stage, which I'm glad they had a ramp, because I'm thinking about trying to make up each step, make sure I don't, clip on one of these steps and trip over myself. But then on top of that, watching the video and getting a little emotional watching it, I'm like, before it was finished, I'm like, I gotta straighten up before I walk across this stage. But I really appreciate Tanya's warm words and everything she said, which I'm going to share on my personal page, or at least on Facebook, because I think I don't know if I mentioned it, but Trend Chat with Brian Bledsoe Facebook page is currently restricted, so I can't post anything on there. So this episode I can't post unless something changes in the next day as this is recorded and I'm posting it. But as of right now, as of this recording, we are still restricted for whatever reason. Apparently it was connected to a video we shared from the 180 series that featured Layla Perney, who is going to be on next week. And we're going to talk about that as well, about how that worked, because Facebook said I'm sharing too much content from other sources, but I only shared one video from this source. So how is that sharing too much? Anyway, don't want to get into all that, but we're working somewhat with Facebook to get this resolved. So hopefully by next week, maybe we would not be restricted. So, but we'll see. But I appreciate everyone listening. And this, that's it for this episode. And we are available here on TrendChat247.com. Also, most popular podcast outlets, your Google Plays, your Apple Podcasts, your iHeartRadios, etc. So like, share, subscribe, tell everyone about it. And also, to the people who are maybe listening for the first time, especially from the Empower Texans dinner, I appreciate you listening for the first time. Come back, share it, and also help us grow. And so until next week, we'll chat with you later.